This video is sponsored by Recall. There are masses of content out there, videos, articles, podcasts, papers, and we just don't have time to slowly figure out if they're worth our attention. That's where Recall comes in. Think of it as a tool for thinking, to help you build a personal base of knowledge from everything you consume. Recall comes with a browser extension that gives you a one-click summary, providing a flavor of what's inside any article or video. And mind you, this isn't a substitute, but a preview, somewhat like an abstract. Is this worth a deeper look? Is this worth my time? And you can even jump straight into sections that seem interesting or are most relevant to you. Or you can talk directly to the content. With the mobile app, you can just share content directly to Recall and get that preview before you commit to this 2-hour podcast, for example. When you save content to Recall, it uses smart tags to automatically map relationships between ideas. So you're not merely storing information, but building a network of how concepts connect across everything you've learned. And when you need to revise an idea or dive into the source for a deeper look, you can ask the chat to directly query any specific tag or piece of content to give you a more tailored response. For example, you can say, using my saved productivity content and my saved productivity journals, make me a productivity protocol for 2026, and it will do it. And like the other note-taking apps you love, you can add your own notes and, of course, edit existing insights if you want to tackle the ideas more directly. Recall just launched GraphView 2.0, a visual map of how your knowledge connects. Now, while you can manually link ideas when you want that intentionality, the network also grows automatically, surfacing connections that you might have missed and discovering hidden connections without necessarily investing hours. To try it for yourself, go to www.getrecall.ai, also linked in the description. And if you want to unlock its full potential, you can use code Odysseus25 to get 25% off of a premium subscription. And that will be valid until the 1st of February, so have fun exploring and thank you to Recall. The digital revolution gave us the internet, infinite entertainment, and now the power to outsource thinking itself. These are gifts, but like Pandora opening her box, they revealed 100 curses. And we became fat and bloated, both physically and mentally. In our binge, we surrendered both our critical thinking and our mental health to all of these pasty losers in Silicon Valley. And it got so bad that beyond the crippled attention spans, our mind is literally rotting away. It's eroding. And this is my confession, because sometimes I feel so just lobotomized, like nothing is going on upstairs. My mind's foggy, I feel dull, and it's painful. That's part of the reason why I like to read and learn. I fear being dumb and ignorant, and I'm not saying that out of self-pity, it's just true. I don't want to be like that. To reclaim control of your mind, you have to first create an environment where thought and reflection can happen, so you can stay curious and, be content, be happy. And this can't happen when your attention is being stolen every 10 seconds by some buzz or flash or icon. And then we get the usual cope, which I'm guilty of. Oh, but I need my phone and my laptop. It's where I do everything. It's where I do my work, it's where I read, it's where I get entertainment. And that's exactly the problem. All of this stuff here is great, but we've made it the center of our life. And that is actually a choice that we didn't have to make. We don't have to work and play and read and eat at our desk. And we don't have to be our phone's bitch either. That's all a choice. And these are where analog tools come in. And you've seen the trends. People use these to replace their phone, or at least diminish it, to give you the space to read and to think and to be creative again. This is a list of my favorites, and this has been done before, so I tried my best to put in some unique ones in there so you don't see just the same stuff over and over. First is one of my New Year's resolutions, and it's to spend more time reading newspapers. And it's such a boomer thing to say. It's like, you darn kids don't read the newspaper anymore. But maybe they're onto something, because it ties into that whole idea of making your doom scrolling analog. The idea is that instead of grabbing your phone to take a dookie or watching YouTube while you eat lunch, you instead read something light but informative, like a newspaper or magazine. I buy a copy of the Financial Times every now and then. Not that often, because they're fucking expensive now. But, I keep up to date with what's going on. I read the political analysis of these smart people, and I don't feel completely retarded by the end of it, like if I were to use my phone. The paper is calming, it's respectable, and let's be honest, it just bleeds aura. Especially those big fucking broadsheet ones that are, they're a pain in the arse to read, but they just have that style to them, don't they? Next up is a dedicated camera or camcorder. And before we continue, well, actually, that's not analog at all. That's digital. And it's like, we know. I know. You know as well. But it's the same outcome. It's the same benefit. It gets the same philosophy across. So don't give me that. Okay? Anyway, back to the camcorder. I bought this one a while back. And what I do is every time I travel with friends to another country, I bring it along, I film some clips, and then I stitch them all together in this edit or compilation. And it's just really like a memento of that country, to capture all the funny moments, all of the nights out, the unfiltered white boy shenanigans that they hate to see. Now, why do this? Why not just use our phone? Well, you can, but remember, we're trying to use it less. And when you use a film camera or a Polaroid or a camcorder or just any dedicated camera, you have to look for compositions. You have to, again, be intentional. It's so much more sentimental than a photo on your phone. I guess it's because it's physical, because it was captured with intent, but it just feels more precious and more cozy in a way, more nostalgic. Now, this camcorder I bought off Amazon for like 50 quid. I'll link it down below if you're interested. And I bought it knowing it would be shit, because it is. It's cheap, the audio sucks, the film sucks, but it just has charm. Something about it being bad gives it extra charm, an extra, I guess, nostalgia factor. Now we arrive at the king of this list, the pen and the notebook. And this really is everything. This is how we think. This is how we reflect. It's how we understand who we are and what we believe in. It's how we take all of the scattered thoughts in our head and give them clarity and order on the paper. Now, typing is okay, it gets the job done, but it just doesn't hit the same as ink on paper, which is slower, it's more thoughtful. And there is actually evidence to show that it's better for your retention and your learning. And it's even just more fun, let's be honest. Now, there's a million things you can use notebooks for, but personally, I like to do two main things. I like to write my first drafts in them. So if I'm doing a newsletter or a video script, I like to start them on paper to sort of make me think a bit more. And I also like to take notes on videos or podcasts or articles that I consume. Yes, it's slower. I could just type them up. I could copy and paste a few things, I guess, but I don't want to do that. I want to take the time to process them, to understand them, to make it slower and more intentional on purpose. Now, because of the fluidity and the freedom of a pen, I can make diagrams, I can do mind maps, I can draw arrows, I can do all these bullshit doodles. That becomes possible. And I can give this spatial dimension to my notes, which is just not as possible in Obsidian or Notion, which is, they're more rigid and linear, you could say. And of course, that's just me. You can use your notebooks for journaling, for brain dumps, for morning pages, for habit trackers, all of these things, which are just great in their own way. Pair that with a nice pen, like Parker, for example, and you've got yourself a ritual, like this romantic, ritualized process of learning and discovery, and it's just fantastic. It really is. It should be part of everyone's arsenal. When I go to the gym, I am tempted to pull out my phone in between sets and just scroll and do bullshit. And it's like, what are you playing at, bro? Focus on lifting, you pig. You fat porky pig. And then I start coping and I say, oh, well, but I would leave my phone at home. I'd leave it in my pocket, but I need it for my stopwatch. I need it to time my sets because I do that. I'm precise with them. And fair enough. We need to have our phone for our workout plan. I understand. But the stopwatch cope doesn't work anymore because I have a Casio. I can just bring my watch. So instead of relying on my phone as much, I just use the stopwatch on my Casio. And I like this because the gym is one of those rare times where you're actually free to just think and to be alone with your thoughts. And that's good for your creativity. It's good for understanding who you are. It's good for, inspiration and getting new ideas, just letting your mind wander a bit and drift off. We're so used to just always having an input. We're always listening to something or reading something or scrolling or having music blaring. And it's just like, shut up. There's cacophony. Give me a break, man. I want some time where I can just be silent and think to myself and not have this constant, can't say that on YouTube. And in general, watches are just beautiful. I love the craftsmanship and the heritage and the story behind them. And listen, this is my only watch. I'm very much a beginner. I'm looking to, explore the world a bit more, upgrade a bit. But they really are just a story on your wrist. And I love them for that. Next up is an alarm clock. Because it's dangerous to wake up with your phone. You reach over to grab it and turn off the alarm. And then you're tempted to start scrolling. And then you do for 10, 20, 30 minutes. And if you combine that with a bad night's sleep or not enough sleep, you just feel like you have a lobotomy and you wake up and kill everyone. You're pissed off, you're tired, and it's just not a great way to start the day, is it? So instead, you get a dedicated alarm clock, literally anything. You keep your phone away, upstairs, downstairs, in your cupboard, who cares? Then you wake up and there's no phone to touch. You get out, you see some sunshine, you look out the window, there's fresh air, and you just get on with your day. And there's no phone for you to get distracted by or to start scrolling on. And it's such a simple change, but it makes a world of a difference in the morning. Coming up is a bit of a wild card, so you're gonna have to hear me out here. And it represents more a philosophy rather than a specific item. But the item in question is the humble shoe shining kit. Because in 2026, I guess one of my resolutions is to buy less and buy with more quality. Now, I'm pretty good at that already, but part of it includes maintaining what you already have. And that's what I need to improve on. Because I'm sick of this. I'm sick of cheap Chinese bullshit. I'm sick of these flimsy things that are designed just to end up in a landfill a few days later. They're designed to break, designed to cause clutter, to, fill up your field of view. It pisses me off. I'm sick of it. If we want to return to the society of the craftsman, the artisan, the local maker, then we have to be willing to pay the price for it. Literally, we have to be willing to pay more sometimes, and we have to make sure that these goods can live out their whole life as it was intended. And that is maintenance. We need to maintain things. That's what this shoe shine and brush represent. It's a symbol of love and care and looking after the things we already have. And with it includes the whetstone that we sharpen our knives with, or the hangers that we hang our jackets upon, or the tools that we look after our car with. All of these little things, these little acts of care and maintenance. It's a bit of a stretch even for this video, but I think it represents that spirit of the analog, of slowing down, of returning to the real world, of looking after the physical. And really, this is another boomer entry on the list. It's like, shine your shoes, boy. Real man shines his shoes. By the way, I'm not even good at it. I'm quite new to this, so please don't judge the B-roll. And, I'll appreciate constructive criticism, but that's it. Finally, and I'm not sponsored by them, but I really like this app called Minimalist Phone. And again, I know it's technically not analog, but it captures the same philosophy. And if you have a problem, Reddit's down the hall to the left, okay? What this app does is it makes your phone interface incredibly boring and minimalistic. Because we know that these social media giants, they use flashy colors and notifications to pull you in and to keep you watching. It's good for advertisers, right? And what this does is it makes your interface dull. So you're not as attracted to it. You're not as tempted to pick it up and see a flashing color and go, It's just a black and white list. And even better, it actually blocks notifications from coming in. So you're not, constantly harassed, someone calling in your name, beckoning you to come in. And finally, it has these app timers. So if you click on, say, Instagram, you can pick 1, 5, 10, 15, and that's how many minutes it allows you to scroll for until it kicks you out. And there's my list. I hope you liked it. I think it was pretty unique. But as always, I want to hear your recommendations. Like, did I miss anything? What do you personally use? It really helps not just me, but everyone else watching. And I'm so grateful for that. And if you're interested in more, I'll recommend a video on deep focus here on screen. And of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm grateful.